Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of BioNexus Health Autism Uprooted. Today we have the immense blessing of having with us Alexandra, an autism mom from Romania. Alexandra is a highly respected member of her society. She does a lot of good work with hundreds of autism mothers, and in helping them and guiding them through this difficult journey that all of us moms with children on the autism spectrum, we know what it's like. Alexandra has very kindly agreed to speak to us today about the excellent recovery of her own child using all natural plant-based herbal medicine protocols with BioNexus Health Clinic. So let us welcome Alexandra to today's podcast.
Welcome to the BioNexus Health Podcast with Dr. Jodie Dashore, who holds a Ph.D. in Integrative Medicine, is board-certified in Integrative Pediatrics, an internationally recognized pioneering clinician, and author. And now here's your host of BioNexus Health Podcast, Dr. Jodie Dashore.
So Alexandra, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's very cold out here now, but doing well.
It's very cold in UK, although it's sunny. It's still very, very cold in UK as well.
Shall we get started? So tell me,
Yeah.
how did you find BioNexus Health, and what made you decide? Because you do a lot of research, you are very knowledgeable about all the various treatments available for autism. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. Coming from you, it means a lot to me. Basically, we've started all these biomedical interventions with Philip when he was about 1 year. And since then, my life has become basically a research on everything that has to do with autism, metabolic disease, everything that is linking to the problems that Philip has become basically my target in my research. So we've got several websites in here importing products from the US, and I managed to go on one of the websites, and it was presenting a podcast with you, presenting the BioNexus treatments, and I did listen to it, and then I went and looked for the products, and it was talking about NSP Formula 1 a lot.
Right. Okay.
And in the description of the website, it was very well presented, the formula and the patents that it's got. And together with that, it was a product sheet of all the BioNexus treatments with every single product described and everything that they were doing. And I was thinking, that's very interesting. And then I started to look more into what BioNexus does and into you, basically. And I came across the book. I was looking for it online, and I couldn't find any copy like to start and reading it straight away on Amazon or something like that. So I had to order the actual hard copy of it. And the minute it has arrived, it's literally changed a lot of my perspective. I started reading, I've started learning, and I was always linking back to your story and what was happening. My story with Philip wasn't that bad from the beginning. I mean, I've noticed the changes in him, but it wasn't anything bad. We have worked with several doctors and all the treatments were working. But then his viruses, I don't know, became more and more stronger, and his body became more and more weak. And I was keeping you like on the side, like whenever I'm going to get there, if I'm going to get there, hopefully not, maybe I'll reach to you, but it wasn't the case. One of my good friends was literally at the end like, I don't know what to try anymore because nothing seems to work anymore with me. And I said, look, is this doctor, you've been to everybody, is literally doesn't take it, it's taking just for you to contact her and see what's the opinion. And then Andrea contacted you and she's got the appointment.
Oh,
And
that's right. That's right. Andrea from Belgium.
from Belgium. So
Yes.
she started, and Andrea has been to several doctors, but the progress that she was having with you in such a short time, it was amazing. Like, she was in shock, and I was so happy for her that she has finally found some answers to her problems, basically. But then in February, COVID basically hit hard on us again. It was the third time for my family.
Okay, sorry. So all of you, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to recap a little bit. I find this, very interesting. So you, in your research, you found the patented herbal medicines from BioNexus. Then you also found the book.
Yes.
Right. So that's my first book. Excellent. That's amazing that the book has been able to reach you where you are, and you've read it. It's been helpful. That's just absolutely fantastic. So now you referred a good friend of yours from Belgium to me,
Yes.
right? Before.
Yes, Andrea's story was a lot closer to what you were going through with Brian. So
Yes.
I was, if somebody has a solution for her, it needs to be Dr. Dashore. Just ask for an opinion and see what's happening. So she gave it a go, and then she had amazing progress.
Yes, he's doing really well. Yes, yeah, God bless. And then all of you got COVID.
Yes, it was the third time when we got COVID this year in February.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
And since that moment, Philip has been in a severe regression, basically. Every single time when he's contacting a virus, depending on how strong the virus is, he was having a regression. So he was losing all his skills, like from motor skills to speech, everything. We had to start all over again every single time. And although he never tested positive on the COVID test, all the family was having, he was showing the symptoms, and then he was regressing.
Oh.
And in February, it's been very, very strong for all of us. It was very difficult. We didn't know exactly what happened up until I was trying to take him to nursery, and he was like literally dropping every 3 meters. He was dropping on his knees, and I was thinking, like, what's going on with him? Why is he having such an abrupt change of behavior? Something must have changed. I was starting to question myself, to question the nursery, what was going on. Did something change in the environment? Because he used to love to go to nursery. What's going on? And he was literally throwing tantrums like 10 minutes long on the street. I couldn't take him inside, so everybody was looking. It was awful. The minutes that it took for me from my house to go to the nursery is just a 3-minute walk. It was becoming like half an hour with intense crying and yelling and screaming and shouting.
Oh, goodness. Was he in pain, Alexandra?
We didn't know at that time what was going on, because he was talking, but he wasn't actually referring to what was going on as pain. He's got in such a severe pain that in one point he started talking, and he was talking, but the only words that he was saying, it was "Mommy, help."
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So these were the only words that he was saying. And to hear from a 3 years old, like the only words "Mommy hurts," "Mommy help," I think is the most painful thing that you can have. Because, okay, you've got kids with no language and you are just assuming what might happen. But when they got like limited language, and that language is just referring to pain, I think it's even worse from my experience. I'm just talking about my own experience. So
Yes.
it was very painful for me to watch him being in pain and not being able to find out what's going on. Since that moment, we've been every week, every 2-3 days to A&E. We were going there, several blood withdrawals, all the testing possible. They were acknowledging the symptoms and the pain. Nothing was showing up on the test. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
they were literally like, we want to help, but we don't know how, we don't know what's going on. And since February, it was like loads and loads of events happening. His face was dropped to the left side, and that was giving me a lot of concern. So that's when we've been referred to a neurologist.
So wait, so he had a facial paralysis, your little 3-year-old on one side.
Yes, he was showing this from time to time, but after that time, like it was showing in December, and then we took him to A&E. They look at him and they said, we're going to refer you to a special clinic, to a special neurologist. We said, okay. And then we were waiting for this referral. But in February, after COVID, his face literally dropped, and he was with his face dropped for forever. It's been like that up until recently. After this, we were keep waiting for appointments. So we were going to A&E all the time. We were coming back without anything because they didn't know what to give. They didn't know what to do because they didn't know where the pain is coming, what's happening. Having the autism, we don't have a diagnosis, but being on the JADES pathway, which is the journey to autism, linked to your profile, is just make you think that the symptoms are not coming from a real pain. It's just coming from maybe, I don't know, an autistic, I don't know, sensory issue or...
Yes.
But nothing related to a pain or to a illness, basically.
Right. So, Alexandra, from what I understand, you were referred to several specialists, including neurologists, and it was difficult to get to the root cause of what was going on, because yes, once you have a complex diagnosis like autism, sometimes everything is just swept under that rug. I remember with Brian, I mean, I had a kid in a wheelchair. Like you had your son's one side of the face was paralyzed. For Brian, it was the legs with the paralysis issue. His left leg was paralyzed. His entire hips was in tremendous pain. He couldn't move.
We went into that after.
Oh, you did, right? And exactly like yours. There was one specialist at a very famous university here, that actually asked me, Dr. Dashore, do you think, he's on the spectrum, kids on the spectrum, behavior, do you think he's pretending? What the heck? I mean, this is my only child. He has all my attention. He doesn't, he's so innocent. He's so little. He doesn't even know how to be manipulative, how to pretend. Oh my gosh, it was just so,
I don't know how old was Brian, but I assume he was a bit older than Philip when you went through this.
6.
So Philip was 3, and some people were looking at like, is he pretending? And I was like, he's a 3-year-old. I'm trying to teach him to speak and to literally like walk again. And how can you teach him to pretend that he's in pain? Or what malicious mind can teach their child to say
exactly
words in a hospital setting? Or
exactly. Oh my
But
goodness.
we had good people as well. So I'm not going to say everyone was like this. People that do have the knowledge, they will listen to your problems and they will understand that you're not going there just because it's better in the hospital than in the park with the kids. So knowledgeable people will really understand what's going on and that it is a problem. The only problem is we don't know where it's coming from. We went to have an MRI scan for this facial drop, and he reacted to the anesthesia.
Oh, I see. Okay.
After he reacted to the anesthesia, I was furious because nobody was listening to me. We had prior to this several genetic testing and pharmacogenetic testing, loads of it. And I knew what's going on with Philip. I knew that he is going to react if like a proper plan is not put in place for him and for his needs. I knew these things were happening. So I've got letters saying, Mom is anxious. Mom doesn't want this. Mom doesn't do that. Mom doesn't want to do that. And they were all flagging upon me. I said, I know what's going on, not because I'm assuming. I've got tests showing what's going to happen. But they were like, the phrase was, he's not the only child having this, or he's not the only child that is going to have an MRI scan. But after the big reaction of the MRI anesthesia, we've literally raised a flag. So our neurologist was very, very busy, and we can understand that, especially after COVID, have looked into his history and said, wait, Mom was always saying before what was going to happen. There's nobody listening. So he asked to see us like very, very soon. And we met with him. And thanks God we found him, because he really wanted to know the whole story, not just the part that brought us to him. So I started telling him whatever was happening. So he got to look into all the testing that we've done, like all tests, everything that we had done privately. And his question was, have you done this privately? And I said, yes, and I've got many more. And he was like, from your pocket? Yes. And he was so surprised, and he was really, really willing to help. And he started investigating, and he has done several testing, but unfortunately, everything that he has run has come back clear.
I see. Oh, okay.
And we got somehow back to the beginning, looking into the behavioral part, but he assured me all the time, like, we're going to look into it, but at the minute, I don't have any link. So at that point, Philip was having several strep infections that lead him to reactive arthritis. That moment was when Philip wasn't able to walk anymore, wasn't able to move. He was a hyperactive. I'm keep correcting myself because now it's not the case anymore. So he was a hyperactive child that was all the time going up and down. Our house is on several floors, so you never knew when he was at the ground floor or on the second. He was constantly on the move, and to see him not being able to go on the stairs, it was a shock. And I've got a video of him trying to go up to bed, which was on the second floor, and trying to get himself then. And he was literally crying and yelling and couldn't put his legs down. And that was the point when I said, I can't keep my child like this. And then he's laying down in bed with his hands like this. And everybody that was looking at him was assuming it's a sensory problem coming from the autism. Like, kids are all the time looking at their hands like this. Well, no, this was my son with his hands paralyzed, trying to move them somehow, feeling that incredible pain. And I took him to A&E, and the doctor said he's got reactive arthritis. Be aware that the biggest pain is happening on the ears and behind of the head. So if you're gonna see him like this, that's not because of the autism. It's because he's literally having like severe pain in his head and all over his joints. And I was like, really? Because I was started to think like, maybe he's just autistic and it is what it is. But then the doctors told me it's reactive arthritis. This is where the biggest pain happens, is behind your head.
Reactive arthritis. Okay, so face was paralyzed, and then this 3-year-old then went on to excruciating pain, hands, back of the neck, legs, not able to walk. The hyperactive child going up and down the stairs just
was already tried so many antibiotics, higher and higher doses. He was
wow.
refusing to eat anything. He was drinking only from a new water bottle, and I had to open it literally in front of him so he can trust me to drink it, because I was hiding the antibiotics in the foods, in the drinks, in juice, in literally everything. We got even into that place, like forcing him to take the antibiotics because we wanted him better. And if this was the way the doctors were telling me to treat him, I was really trying to do that, not to see him in pain anymore. After the antibiotic, we were having like reactions. I'm not even going to go into losing the skills that he was already mastering. I'm just going to go through the fact that he wasn't eating or drinking anymore.
Oh, he stopped eating and drinking. Oh my goodness.
But even though he wasn't eating or drinking, his urine levels were incredible. So I was changing nappies every 10, 20 minutes. And for me, it was like, what's happening? Where are his internal parts getting all this water from? What's going on? And our neurologist was in holiday at that time. I couldn't get rid of anyone. Nobody was helping with anything because they didn't know what to do anymore. Nothing was showing up on the test. So I was discussing with my husband. I said, look, with all these symptoms, everything that I read is everything is linking to pandas, probably Lyme.
Right.
And he looked at me and he said, what? And I said, this is what I'm reading. I've got just one option at this moment. Is this book, if you want to go through it and read and have a go, I said, no, I really trust you. Do what we have to do. So that was the point when I've contacted your team and I said, I really need to see Dr. Dashore. It's like it's an emergency. The minute I was writing to Cheryl, Philip was paralyzed on the couch, yelling in pain. So for me, it wasn't anymore about I need to wait for whenever she's going to be able to see us. I need to see her now because that's my only option. There's no place I know where to go now. Nothing is working. I couldn't give him any more blood tests because he couldn't take them anymore.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I don't know, incredible amounts of blood withdrawal and they weren't showing anything. So I was really needing someone specialized in this area so I can see if I'm right on what I'm assuming he's having or no, I need to look somewhere else. But I wasn't having any more options basically.
I remember, Alexandra, I remember.
I'll mention just a second. I'll mention the doctor that we are still in contact. Can I mention his name? Is Dr. Jared Skovron. So I have discussed with him and I said, I need to go for this. And he said, go with whatever makes you feel confident and just go for Dr. Dashore and see what's her opinion. Because literally we didn't know what to do with him anymore. Everything that we were giving to him, it was showing improvement, but then another virus was coming, like, I don't know, a cough, an ear infection, anything was coming and was taking everything that we were trying to build away. So I was really needing to dig deep to the very root cause to try to fix it. So that's when we came to you.
Yes. I remember we spoke on an urgent basis on the weekend, I think, right?
Yes,
on the weekend. Right. Okay. So now, sorry. you know, obviously did not have to travel to the United States to be able to see me, right? All of the testing, all of the medicines were shipped to you. And, you know, was the process smooth? You know, everything worked out well in the end. You know, you were able to actually wait. You were able to do testing locally as well, which was great.
Yes.
Right.
Uh,
And
because since Philip was like almost 1 year, now I'm already 2 years and a half into this. And I
yeah,
have collaborated with many, many doctors. I know which laboratory can offer what testing they can offer and what's the easiest way to go to. When I'm talking about the easiest is the shortest, because there are several problems with the customs. Yes. So everything to have something, to receive something from abroad or send something, it's very difficult now after COVID, after recession, everything that's going on globally, everything is not running smoothly. So we had to find a way to make sure I'm sending the tests and they get to the laboratory
right.
in right timing. And I had to try to, I wasn't feeling sure to send everything to the US, and I don't know, have things delayed, because it's happening all the time. Like even a letter is getting after 20
Yes,
days a delay.
yes. I've
It's
heard
really
about
happening.
that. Yeah, I've heard about
But
that. But
we do have laboratories that are collaborating with the major laboratories in the US,
yes,
and the process, and they are working worldwide. So it's a
yes.
bit easier for Europe to go through these laboratories than sending everything to the US. And I don't know,
Oh,
um,
absolutely. No, no, you're
bad
right.
experience.
Yeah, you're right. You know, we do have labs in Europe, you know, that we can coordinate with. Yeah, absolutely. So now, after all this effort, you received your herbal medicines, you received your first protocol, right? First step, like, you know, it's not one step, it's a few steps rolled into one, fully customized to what Philip was going through. So what was your experience? What improvements did you see? And if you can please.
First of all, I want to mention that the day my products arrived, we had a meeting with a neurologist, with a
Okay.
team of neurologists looking into Philip. So we presented them the treatment and what we are planning to do. And we said, by the time we're going to do more and more research and see if we're going to get somewhere, we really need to start him on something. We've got past experience showing his progress on natural supplements and have, I don't know, reactions to allopathic treatment. And they've been very, very supportive. And that was the day basically when we started on the 20th of September. We started your protocol. I even remember now the day. First one that we've introduced, the first product that we've introduced, I've put it into the evening just to try to start it for the next day as per the protocol. And in about 2 hours after I gave him the first dose, Philip has finally calmed down. I want to mention that up until 20th of September, from February, Philip was not just hyperactive. You could have just get dizzy from how much movement he would have had. He couldn't stay down, couldn't calm himself down, not even in the front of the tablet. Even with the tablet, he was moving constantly. So the minute we started with the first product, I've been in shock because I could have seen him like finally getting himself calm. And yeah, it was just the click point for him. Um, I don't know how to specify exactly what was happening. We kept tracking of everything that he was doing every single day. Even in nursery, we've got following trackers, because this is how we've managed to show to the neurologist his progress on the natural treatments. So every single time we were doing the graphs. I can share my screen with you and show you those graphs to see exactly what was going on, and go through them a bit and explain a bit for the people that are watching, just to understand what was going on with Philip. So every single time we were seeing a blue spot, Philip was on the treatment and he was starting to accomplish his tasks in nursery. And those tasks were like getting into the class, putting his coat on the peg, saying bye to me, participating in one activity, having his snack, asking for snack, and things like this. And we were tracking them every single day. And this is happening since, if I'm not wrong, May.
Okay.
After the MRI scan, we've got these trackers on.
Okay, I see.
So the minute we've introduced your protocol, if before that it was like going up and down, it has been constantly up.
It's constantly up.
Constantly up.
Oh, wonderful.
But not just up. It's like if he's got 12 tasks for a day, he's going to do at least over 7, yes, and the rest of them will be with help, and maybe just 2 that he didn't do. So for us, this is incredible. But not just that, I've got notes with all the progress that he's making, and we can go through it. But we were just realizing last night we had friends over, and it's constantly happening like for 3-4 weeks. But not just having friends over, because we had them all over these years. It's like having time to sit down with the friends and play cards, and the kids playing on the carpet or with the toys or hide and seek. We were just literally, me and my husband, discussing and like, when did that happen? What's going on? What magic just happened with our family? And Philip's got an older brother that was literally suffering because he was keep waiting for his brother to grow and to speak. And he was always like, oh, when Philip is going to be 2, he's going to speak and he's going to play with me. Yeah. And then Philip turned 3, and when Philip is going to be 4, he's going to speak. But suddenly, everything changed. Now they are spending the best time together, hiding away from me and playing pranks. And it's amazing. And we are very, very grateful for everything.
I'm so glad you are seeing such remarkable progress. So his facial paralysis, his legs, his strength.
I'll go deeper into what's changed and is not there. So hyperactivity is 0.
0.
I'm very serious when I'm saying at home hyperactivity is 0. He's a bit more hyper when he's riding the bike, if we can call it hyperactivity. But for me, that is like, that's natural. You're riding a bike, you're supposed to be active. That's a different thing. But other than this, hyperactivity is 0. Pain, which was our biggest problem of all, it's all gone.
Oh, that's amazing. I love to hear that.
Philip, since February up until September, Philip had his knees swollen and they were looking some sort of a bruise, because the only way to overcome the pain in his knees were jumping on the knees to create a bigger pain than what he was feeling from the arthritis. So he was constantly jumping on his knees in nursery, at home, everywhere he was jumping. If he was walking, he was just falling on his knees. And at the beginning, if we go back at the beginning of our conversation, I was saying like I was going with him from home to school and he was literally dropping on his knees.
Yes.
Every 1 minute. It's not happening. He's going happy to the school. He's waking, he's walking, he's running, he's happy. He's following the instructions when he's going inside. He's putting his bag onto the peg, saying bye. He's even giving me a kiss, which never happened up until now. So there is amazing progress, and the nursery are acknowledging, like they had to fill several reports for his one plan, and every day is like they are filling this week the report and they are writing down. Philip is not showing like facial expressions. We are not aware of Philip's facial expressions. And then the very second day, he is laughing with everybody else, or somebody's crying and he's going to comfort them. And they were like, we just filled yesterday the report that he doesn't do it. Now he's doing it. Last week, it was the situation that they were filling the report like today, and the next day in the report they had to fill in if Philip has got friends and if he's playing with his friends. Next day we've got a video with Philip playing with his friends in the garden and playing chasing and catching and I don't know, imitating dinosaurs and all that, all by itself. So nobody was prompting him. There was no teacher telling him, Philip, go and play. He was just playing naturally. So everything that is happening now, it's happening naturally and appropriate to his age. And this is amazing. It's nothing forced. It's nothing taught. I don't know. It's amazing what's happening. So hyperactivity is gone. Pain is gone. Facial drop. It's going. He's having flares of facial drop whenever he's in contact with another virus.
Oh, right.
At this point is normal. And this is the way we are acknowledging that something is going to happen. Whenever his face is dropping, we know there's something coming, which happened this week. I've seen his face drop on Friday, and I said to my husband, something is coming. And then Tuesday, I couldn't take him to nursery because he was coughing very, very bad. And it was like a virus going around nurseries and schools. So my kid stayed at home because he had the virus. But as strong as the virus was, he didn't have any regression, just progress. He was a bit in pain, but the pain was not even, I don't know. He had pain, but it was like literally acceptable. I don't know if that's the right way to say like pain is acceptable, but comparing with what he was in August, there's nowhere near. Like from 1 to 100 in August, this one was 0.5, 0.5. It was there. I could have seen him being in pain. I could have seen him doing this to his hands, but I knew where it's coming from.
Right. Right. So that, that is the hallmark of a good treatment that is working for your child will be that just because you go through, a normal cough and cold, which many children do as the weather changes, you shouldn't be seeing regression. Now, I've, as we proceed with his treatment, as you're aware, there are several steps. As we proceed, you will see that his immune system will get stronger, and you will see that, these coughs and colds and flu and what have you, even COVID. I have many children who have recovered because they are further along on the protocol, from all of these big things in just 1 or 2 days. Now, that is the hallmark, because
we are already seeing this because
you are seeing, okay.
Yes, because since we started the protocol up until now, my older son has a severe ear infection with blood coming off his ears, and we took him to A&E. Philip was past it, just with a mild fever. That was it. So it's not the first virus that we are going through now. It's been like at least 2 or 3 in all this period since we started in September, but we didn't have any regress on anything.
No regression, right?
No, and he's progressing amazingly.
Wow. So this is in 2 months, right? You only started in September, and now it's just middle of November. 19th of
20th of
September.
September.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, so this goes to show that Philip has excellent potential. Of course, he's very young, and that helps as well, because you've been working with him from such an early age. So that is, a huge factor in seeing the kind of remarkable improvement you're seeing. Now, children of all ages on the spectrum are capable of gaining. I'm going to have another podcast with a family of a 20-year-old with autism on this. They're seeing changes, remarkable changes, which they never felt. They thought it was hopeless. Now that he was 19 already, it was hopeless. So I started with him when he was 19. But yes, younger kids.
That's amazing, because this gives hope to all the other parents, because they are always asking, oh, you see, how old is Philip? And when I'm saying 3, nobody is getting so excited, because they are just thinking, oh, he's getting all this improvement because he's only little. But I said to them, look, Dr. Dashore is treating even adult patients, and the treatment is working. So I know that there are different problems, but you never know which is the root cause. So treating the root cause, you might heal the other symptoms.
Absolutely, you are right about that. What I found, the reason why we switched to the herbal protocol for my son, the same thing. I mean, antibiotics, they rip up your gut. When you're trying to save a life, there's paralysis, you have a kid who can't move. Of course, you'll do whatever needs to be done. And that's what we did as well. But eventually, there's a lot of reactivity to anesthesia. We had to go through everything, colonoscopy, endoscopy, IVIG, all these different procedures. It was a mess. We learned everything. Something helped. I started mentoring, but it was so rough on the child. In like drawing 14 vials of blood. I think once it was 20 vials of blood, and my son was not eating well, skin and bones.
Exactly. I have forgot when I've seen you, I have forgot to tell you that Philip hasn't gained any weight in the last year since we are on the protocol. He just gained 1 kilogram, which is huge for us.
Oh, he's gaining weight? Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I told you, we've got so many change. I'm going to look into here, and it's not going to be enough, because, for example, today we had so many new words and so much social activity. It's incredible. I can't even go to, I don't know, it's on all the plans, it's not just physical, cognitive, it's everywhere.
Speech as well. So he had new words today?
It's not just new words. It's like perfect pronunciations. This morning he was making a floor puzzle. Nobody was asking him to do that. And then he put the puzzle and he said, that's perfect.
Oh, wow.
Like, since when? Since when you're using this and you're just praising yourself? And it's amazing. His brother was crying earlier, and he went to him and said, stop, don't cry. And I'm in shock, because not just feeling awareness, speech. I was like, since when? And he was wiping his tear, and I was looking at my husband in shock, and I was like, in my head, it was like, Patrick, please carry on crying. So we can
Yes.
Yeah, it's always like this, It's amazing. It's incredible. We are, I don't know, grateful is not enough for what's happening to Philip now.
What does your pediatrician and what does the neurologist have to say?
Well, at the minute, we are keep updating them with everything that's going on. We've seen a pediatrician on Monday, because we've been to Jade's pathway and we were having an assessment, and she was looking through his medical history and through all the testing, and she said, I can't assess him now. 5 months ago, he was in severe pain. Now he's a completely different child. I can't give him the diagnosis now based on what? And I said, well, you just make your own decisions and your own conclusions. And she said, no, we're literally going to have to follow him in 1 year. I would take him away from the Jades Parkway, but I'm just thinking maybe he's going to be left with something, and maybe you want to start the process of him getting a diagnosis of autism. But to be honest, I don't think he's autistic, because when you've got autism, you're not going to make this progress from one day to the other. His progress is not showing this. And especially these regressions like losing it, no, this is an illness, let's look more into it and see what's happening. So I went there with my mind like 98%. I was saying 95 in front of the people, but 98% it was in my head, we're going to come back with the autism diagnosis. But when I've heard those words from her, it was so comforting. And I've realized that everything that I've battled just in the last, 8-9 months, it wasn't for nothing. Yes, we've been through very, very hard moments. It was a lot of crying, a lot of pain. But maybe things are going to start getting changed, not just for us, for loads of other kids that are going through the same story. And maybe we can raise awareness of all the other parents to look more into the symptoms, because something that might look like an autistic sensory processing issue might be linked to something else. Because I was literally thinking like, I was hoping it's not a sensory issue, and I was thinking there must be more. But seeing him like this all the time, not being able to understand what's going on with your hands, and then realizing, oh my goodness, that was severe pain. That was severe pain. And the only way he could have done it was just have it in front of his face and just do this, just to raise awareness on me, like something's going on with my hands. So this is my advice for all the parents. Just look deep in what's going on. Like, try to change your perspective. Try to get yourself into the child position. And what would you like to let the other people know when you're doing this gesture? Why would you do it? Because no matter how happy you are, you can't hit your head on the floor for happiness.
Yes, I agree. You know, I have several patients in my practice that have stopped self-harming behaviors, different kinds of self-harming behaviors. Head banging would be one example, simply because the underlying cause has been treated. It wasn't a stereotypical autism behavior, but when you have nonverbal children in pain, experiencing tingling, numbness, sharp pains,
Exactly.
many other neuropathy kind of symptoms, they don't have any other way of trying to manifest that, you know what, I need help. Just like Philip was saying, mama help, mama pain.
And even now we can acknowledge a lot better his symptoms, because he's feeling tingling into his hands. And his hands are becoming numb when there's, like a spike of pain or something, especially after a flare. And my child went, and with his hands, probably it was feeling numb, and just hit very hard the floor. And I was like, what was that? And he was doing like, and then I've realized he must feel tingling or numbness, because that's the way, whenever you're not feeling your hand or whenever your head is hurting, you're going to do this to see, is it still hurting? Can I put some pressure? Can I do something on it? So yes, we are becoming more and more aware of what all those gestures and reactions were actually about.
Exactly. Yes. Wow. I remember this. One last thing I'll say before we close is, I remember this with Brian, and he was misdiagnosed right from the start. I mean, that's how this whole journey started, right? That's how BioNexus started. with my son, because like yourself, I refuse to believe that there was no help or no, recovery available for children on the spectrum. Lots of sensory, and I knew, I'm sensory integration certified, right? And I knew that everything cannot be a sensory issue. There was something. He started getting motor tics, his head would shake and his eyes would blink. So in the beginning, when he was young, when he was 2.5 years old, um, his pediatrician gave this crazy diagnosis. Oh, it happens to many children. It's called as a childhood motor tic syndrome. No one had a clue back in the day about PANS, PANDAS. It was just emerging. There was some research coming out. And this is what, we thought was okay, that it would go away. He would grow out of it, but things just kept getting worse. His head would shake, his eyes would blink, neck was hurting him from all of the head shaking. Poor baby. And he wasn't able to express. He always had his hand up here. Anyways, so it's very important to those listening, just like Alexandra has mentioned, that, understand if there is any pain, try to understand what the nonverbal communication techniques or strategies that your child is trying to use to get to you, to try to get you to understand that there is something else. There is perhaps something else going on underneath, and I use the word perhaps, but in reality, 100% of children that find me, 100% of families that come to BioNexus, the children on the spectrum have a lot of underlying medical issues. That is why we run all these labs. We look at precisely what is going on with each child. We run genetics. Alexandra mentioned, they ran a lot of genetic testing as well. Yes, we do genetic testing. We do a lot of, multi-organ testing for toxins, infections, any kind of mitochondrial issues, immune system problems, along with genetics. And then this full protocol needs to be customized to the child. I mean, we have twins or even triplets that have their own protocol. So that is where, you will see the kind of remarkable results that Alexandra spoke about today. So I have to express a lot of gratitude to you, Alexandra. I'm really sorry, if the video was a little bit shaky, but Alexandra is kind of far away. And I'm on this other side of the pond here, but at least we were able to bring this inspirational, heartwarming story full of strength, not only a mother's strength, but also the strength of a child trying to recover. So thank you so much, Alexandra, for being here.
Thank you, Doctor, for everything and for giving us the opportunity to share with everybody our story. Maybe some other parents will just realize what's going on with their kids, like going back into our, I have found myself in many stories on your podcast. So maybe one symptom from here, one symptom from the other side, and you just make on your own story, and then you're going to find the courage to look deeper into the root cause.
So, Alexandra, you mentioned that you have certain graphs in school that you wanted to share, which shows that, his progress has just skyrocketed in the last couple months since you started the herbal protocol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let you share your screen. One moment.
Yes, I will explain you a bit how how the trackers are working, basically. We've got these trackers coming from nursery with several tasks that he has to complete during one day. So the task will be like this. Did Philip say goodbye to mommy? Did Philip hang up his bag? Did Philip sit down ready for circle time? Did he participate in circle time? Did he participate in an arts activity? Did he request for snack? Did he wash his hands? So different questions that he needs to complete during one day. And We have started taking these trackers on the 13th of May.
May, right.
And as you see, on the left side is successful task, and on the right side are unsuccessful. If you look to the graph, I'll just make it a bit bigger. The graph is showing some blue spikes. Everywhere you see a blue spike going from the middle up, here was Philip starting natural treatment. I don't know. He was on a different protocols from our previous doctors. So this way we have managed to see that Philip is literally making progress whenever he is on the treatment. Whenever he is not on the treatment, the orange is coming up and he is in pain and not responding to, not doing any of his tasks. Now, going back to BioNexus, as I've mentioned, the date we started is the 20th of September, and I've marked it here. If we going back to the graphs on the 20th of September, which is right here, we can see that Philip has got only blue and is going up high.
Oh, wow. Yes, I see that. That is fantastic. I'm so glad you shared this. Yes, yes. All right, go, Philip. I love it. Cool. All right, so now there we go. You're back. Yes, and you know this is one other thing that I recommend as well is keep track of progress. You know, because you will see some ups and downs because that is the nature of pandas biotoxin illness. You know, anytime there's exposure, you might see slowing down, or you know, anytime the body wants to take a rest. Now, I mean, the body's made so much progress. Now it's quite fair that sometimes the body might just want to take a break, you know, for like a few months. So don't panic if your child becomes a little bit plateaued. Remember that behind the scenes, the body is getting stronger, things are being repaired and what have you. So always keep track, you know, just like Alexandra has shown us today, keep track of the progress so you know that the amount of progress that your child has made. For someone, you know, to have told you it's autism, just accept this for the rest of your life. Now, Philip's doctors are refusing to give him the diagnosis of autism, right?
Yeah, and it's exactly because of this tracking progress and all of these proofs that I'm giving them. Because it's not just me saying it. It's like, this is what he's doing. This is his pathway. So they are acknowledging that with autism, you can't have so much fluctuation, like being on a treatment and doing great, not being on a treatment and doing awful.
Yes, yes. Well, I am very happy for you and your family. I mean, Philip is not only showing us new words every day, but he is also beginning to develop, you know, emotional understanding, empathy, socialization, eye contact, interaction with family members, understanding emotions, actually, understanding when somebody is sad, when someone, that's just so amazing, so amazing.
And we are very thankful for that. We really are very thankful.
It's been, and you know, it's always a privilege to help a child achieve his or her full potential. You know, it's just, I end up, you know, not having words when I hear such wonderful, amazing stories like you have shared today. And you know, for some reason, your internet connection now is fantastic.
I don't know what's going on.
So, but I'm sure, I mean, your audio was great throughout the podcast. So I'm sure, you know, people will be able to relate. And with your permission, Alexandra, we should probably keep track of Philip, you know, and do a follow-up one.
We will definitely have a follow-up, I promise.
Okay, very good. I mean, that was such a fantastic podcast, wasn't it, today? once again, sorry about the video, but somehow towards the end it got better, right? Anyways, Alexandra will be back, and we will be tracking Philip's progress, over the months. So thank you for joining me today. It was awesome having you on board. Listening to Philip's remarkable journey, remarkable recovery in just a couple of months. Thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you here on the next episode of BioNexus Health Clinic Autism Uprooted. Until then, be well. Namaste.
Thank you for joining Master Herbalist Dr. Jodie Dashore, Director of the BioNexus Health Clinic and BioNexus Herbals, on the BioNexus Health Podcast, where we explore and share information and stories about recovering and healing from chronic and environmental illnesses such as mold biotoxin illness, Lyme disease, autism spectrum disorder, fatigue, Crohn's and colitis, mast cell activation syndrome, PANS, and more. Please help us grow our message by subscribing to our podcast channel and sharing the podcast on your social networks. For more information, visit bionexushealth.com.
Information within this video, audio, or text, collectively known as the podcast, has not been reviewed by the FDA. Nothing within the podcast is intended as or should be construed as medical advice. Information is for general informational and educational purposes only. Consumers of the podcast should consult with their healthcare practitioners for medical recommendations. Seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider. Do not disregard the advice of a healthcare provider based on any information from the podcast. The information within the podcast may contain information concerning dietary supplements or over-the-counter products that are not drugged. Our dietary supplement products are not intended for use as a means to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, or mitigate any disease or other medical or abnormal condition.